Hello, and welcome to Martlet Games. My name is Sarah, and I'm the storyteller for our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle, London's Bleeding, set in 1918 London just after the end of the Great War. Let's get familiar once again, starting with Walter.
My name is Ben, and I'm playing Walter Price, the Gangrel.
Hello, I am Patrick Gill, and I am playing Rafe the Toreador.
Hello, I'm Smith McLarty, and I am playing Lillian Crawford, the Ventru.
Of course, I'm Steve Rieger, and I'll be playing Tommy, the Malkavian.
Great. Thanks so much again to my players for being here with me. And thank you to everyone tuning in on Twitch, in the VOD, or otherwise. We're so happy you're here and looking forward to having you along in the story we're telling. Just a reminder that this is a game for mature audiences, so viewer discretion is advised. Here we go. Trust is a precious commodity in the world of darkness. Few kindred societies can foster it. Even fewer experience trust that lasts longer than a few nights. Blood bonds and disciplines manufacture trust in mortals and ghouls and even other kindred. Like mortal love, which overwhelms the synapses of the living brain, the unnatural bonds between kindred are capricious and often twisted. Nevertheless, there are exceptions to every rule. Vampires become entangled in centuries-long affairs where love waxes and wanes, burns and freezes into chasms of madness, isolation, and inevitably ground-shaking violence. For us mortals at the time of this recording, spring is sprung, but our kindred counterparts are still in December of 1918, drawing very near to Christmas, I might add. Our characters find themselves firmly asked to depart the Wetterman Hospital after examining the curiously exsanguinated bodies pulled from the Thames. Rafe has completed a very well-realized fraud that marks these bodies for immediate incineration as to not raise suspicions. The hospital staff is barely treading water as it is after the death of the head of the hospital, Dr. Gray. So the four of you are still, Dr. Williamson has just asked you to leave the hospital. He was being pretty firm about it. So I will, if anyone wants to do like one small thing before you leave the hospital that has to pertain to something at the hospital, you can do so now. Would anybody like to do anything?
Good, thank you, though.
Okay.
Nope,
All right, cool. So basically at this point, you still have 1 to 2 hours left in the night. So would you all like to return to your various residences?
I will take a detour to the tavern to get my hunger down to 1, but we can do that quickly if you want.
Sure. We'll just kind of go through that really fast. So there are plenty of pubs that are in walking distance from the hospital. Some of them are not open, but you do find one that's open. And you will be able to find some mortal men who are it's going on 2 a.m. probably at this point, 3 a.m. possibly. So they're well sauced at this point. So is it your intention to feed off of one of these types of people?
Yeah, my idea is to pick a fight so I can get a little bit of aggravated blood going for my predator type.
Sure.
Which the name can't
go
pull
ahead.
it. I can't remember the name of the predator type right now.
The alley cat.
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, no problem. So
just a simple alley skirmish to
sure. So I'm
start.
Gonna say this is so usual for you that you're not gonna have to roll to instigate a fight. So you start throwing out some insults And this man, pretty average white, average mortal, you start going back and forth, and you'll end up in the alley at the side of the pub. And if you could just please make me a strength and brawl roll.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
With 3 hunger,
Mm-hmm.
50-50 roll. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you will then pretty easily overtake him. He's in this intoxicated state, and he's just a regular guy. He's not any kind of fighter. So I assume you will perform the regular actions to slake your hunger. Now, if you want to, this is up to you. If you want to slake one, he'll be able to sort of like more or less continue his night. If you slake 2, then he's going to be kind of incapacitated, but he'll be fine, but someone's probably going to have to collect him at some point. So what's your call?
They can collect him. That's fine.
Okay.
By me.
So you'll slake 2 hunger then.
Yeah, I'll go down to hunger 1, please.
Okay, great. So you will return to hunger 1. The guy will remain slumped on the wall. He's definitely out of it. He might be kind of lolling his head in and out of consciousness, but his mates will come and he'll be okay. So after that, you'll return to your residence.
That is correct.
Okay. Rafe, what anything you would like to do?
Rafe is going to be activating Blush of Life.
Okay, sure. So I'll take a rouse check if you haven't already done so.
Which I failed.
Okay, so what's your hunger now?
I'm now at hunger 2.
Hunger 2. Okay, noted. Thank you.
But I'm doing this so I can walk back to my flat and still produce the vapor from breathing. I also reach into my coat pocket and I grab a pack of cigarettes. And since I have Blush of Life active, I actually can enjoy the nicotine while I'm walking back to my flat, because I do have to start work on my next article about the Bloody Fists, and I need to strike while the iron's hot. There's all sorts of new information that's come to light that I think might need to start getting laid in the public perception of the gang.
Sure, that sounds good. So you're enjoying your cigarette, and you'll come back to your residence, and before you enter, you will see an envelope slid under the door.
I look up and down the hallway. And actually, give me a moment here. I need to double check a piece of information. I will also, I will be activating heightened senses to see if I can pick out anyone who may be a little sloppy in their attempts to maybe hide in the shadows. Now, this won't break obfuscate, I know that, but this is just a, and it may be here if there's anyone that might be hiding around a corner in the hallway.
There's no one here.
All right.
No one here.
I'll go ahead and I'll open the envelope.
Okay, so you open the envelope. It looks like, even though it's been under your door, it looks very clean and crisp. And on the front of it is just your name in a very flowery script. So you'll open the envelope and you will read these words. War is over. What dandy friends you've made. I'm here. And the only signature is a large letter M.
She's alive. Oh, she's alive. Oh dear. Shit. I fold up the envelope.
Okay.
Or I fold up the letter. I put it back in the envelope. I
Mm-hmm.
tuck it inside my jacket. I'm going to go into my flat,
Okay.
and I'm going to start writing a letter.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to type this up, and I'm going to tack it to my front door in an
Okay.
envelope with M written on the front.
Okay.
The letter will say, missed you greatly. Life is harder now. We need to talk. When and where. And I put that in in an envelope and seal it, and I'm going to tack it to my front door, and I'm going to start writing that article that I said I was going to start writing.
Sure. So, if you want to please give me, like, as Rafe is writing this and getting his words together, getting all the thoughts of, the large amount of information that has been raining down over these past few nights, please roll, intelligence and academics, in which you can use an extra die to your pool for your specialty.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, big old pool for you.
Yeah, I mean, I could succeed at half, but where's the flair there?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh. Okay, nope, we're good. 1, 2, 3 successes.
Okay, 3 successes. So what is it that exactly you would like to be saying about the bloody fist? Like, what are you trying to get across exactly?
Well, it's technically 4. I forgot to roll my bonus die. I just did.
Oh, 4.
But,
okay, that's good.
All right, so I'm the vein that I'm going to attempt to tap. To pardon the pun. Just how much of a threat the bloody fists are to the local neighborhoods, and
Okay.
I'm going to start insinuating that they might be taking advantage of the chaos in the flu wards, and might be nicking stuff out the they might have some friends who've managed to work their way inside, and they're nicking antibiotics and other much needed supplies, and they're trying to sell them on the streets.
Okay, very interesting. So you start writing, and it goes well. I mean, this is, again, your forte. It's the quality of work is what you've come to expect from yourself, and you're satisfied with that. So you kind of pour that all out onto the paper. Anything else you would like to do before you turn in?
Nothing in particular comes to mind right now. I think I will. I might actually sit down, and I'm going to read a book. I haven't sat down and actually read a book since I've gotten back.
Any idea what you're reading?
Maybe some Shakespeare.
Very good. Let's say you read The Tempest.
That's quite fitting, actually. Yes.
Indeed. Okay, so you read The Tempest, and you do feel that bring a sense of serenity to your mind, that you can return to these stories that you probably know well, and it's comforting to have that in these nights that have brought a lot of changes to your existence. If you had spent any willpower, you'll recover it. I don't know if you did, but just in case, you do recover any spent willpower. Okay. Rafe is turning in. Lillian, what would you like to return to your residence?
Yes.
Okay.
Get back there. I am at 2 hunger now, so I will probably see to Bess and make sure she is taken care of. And I don't remember if this is a night that I have to give her another blood point or not.
I don't believe so.
Okay. If not, that's fine.
No.
Then I will probably take down I probably wouldn't feed just yet. I will do that after I give her more tomorrow, the next night, and then I will sort it out with one of the other girls. Like Mary Alice seems like a good choice.
Yeah, she needs some attention, I think, at this point. Just as you arrive back at your very nice home that you have here, there is, like, as you come into your foyer or however it's laid out, there's a servant that's like half asleep, just sitting in an upholstered chair, like where a guest might wait to go to the parlor, and you come in, and it's a young woman, you know, she's probably 19 or 20, and she's just like, mom, you've arrived. I have a message for you.
Go on. What is it?
And she approaches you kind of hesitantly, and she hands you a note that was just written down by her. And she says, "You had a phone call, and I wrote down what she wanted. I didn't ask her any questions, and I'm passing on what she said for you, Mom." So you take the paper, and it's a very simple message. On Christmas Eve, at midnight, you are to meet the Sheriff of North London, Juliet Parr, at the Tower of London.
Bloody hell. All right. Is the servant person still there?
Yeah, she's still there, just waiting for any further direction.
Lillian will look at her after reading the letter, and she'll just, what are you waiting for? Go on now.
Oh, all right. So sorry. Yeah. Sorry. And she splits.
And Lillian will, she'll start moving about her house as if, she's doing normal things. She probably has one of oh my God, what are they called? They're the cigarette smokers, like
the cigarette holders.
Yes,
the long ones. Sure,
she probably has one of those and pretends to smoke just to keep up appearance sakes.
Certainly.
So yeah, she is probably doing that, and then catching up on any events or messages, that any letters, mail, whatever that she might have gotten. And then she'd probably start getting ready to slumber.
Right. So one thing I did want to go through before you slumber is Lillian's intention to attempt to install a new doctor at Wetterman?
Yes.
Okay, so what I actually would like you to do is, as you're looking through these documents, you're sort of in your head, you're going over all these contacts you have and who you could call, blah, blah, blah. Can you please roll, let me just make sure I have this correct. Could you roll, give me intelligence and this is a tricky one. Give me intelligence and subterfuge.
All right. Does cover-ups apply?
Indeed.
Fantastic. All right. 4 and 1 is a crit.
Okay. Well, on your critical success, because you have critically succeeded, you actually will be able to, just by the nature, you came up with some contact that was buried in your brain, at another hospital that's like larger in scale, that could probably spare a competent doctor. So with the critical success, you know exactly where to find this guy. You either have his phone number or his like direct like home address or something like that. So this is going to fast track the process essentially, where in probably two nights you can get him in there.
Absolutely done then.
Yeah, sweet.
She's probably quite pleased
very
with
well
herself.
Done. I'm sure. So then Lillian will slumber for the day. Walter, anything you would like to do in this 1 to 2 hour bracket before you have to sleep?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the long way home to go by Edna Taylor's house.
Okay, sure.
See if anybody is up, if anything is around. I guess I just kind of walk past the house. And
okay, it's in. I'm assuming it's in East London somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Okay,
like I would have settled close to where they are.
That completely makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, so it's like a small. It's almost like a. It's just a small house, sort of tucked, in a less populated area. Like it's not like smack in the city. It's either like probably up north a little bit toward Whitechapel, and homes in this area are, they're not nice, but with some care they can look okay. So thanks to your assistance to this family, they're probably doing all right. So their house is in good condition. The windows are dark, the shades are pulled. It's 3 a.m. at this point, and let's see. Why don't you give me a roll of just give me wits and awareness, if you would, please.
Okay. I got 3, but 2 of them are crits, so 4.
Okay, so you actually, with your supernatural predator vision, you can see, like, just through this, one of the curtains, like at the back of the house, is slightly open. So you will see Edna asleep there in the bed. She's alone.
Okay. Do I hear the boys at all?
You might hear some walking around, like as if like one person in the house is awake.
Okay. That's fine. I don't want to disturb them. I just slide an envelope with some cash underneath the door. So.
Okay, understood. I'll make a note of that for them. And what is Walter feeling as he's seeing Edna there and he's hearing the footsteps of another one of the boys that live there?
He's a little content to know that they're okay. Walter understands that he's putting them in a hardship by asking Clarence to do what Clarence is doing. Yeah. And he just wants to make sure that he doesn't want to make anything worse. Like, he doesn't want to break it any further, but this needs to happen. And so I was just generally saying, I'm glad that Edna's fine and can get some sleep. It's the boys I'm worried about. I want to make sure that they're not out at all hours or trying to get into problems, getting into trouble. So
right. And you would know, just based on your observations and interfacing with Clarence, that they're so far up until this point, no one has been sick with the flu. They're doing pretty well about kind of staying away from people. I mean, part of that is due to you. They can afford to like have things done for them as opposed to going out. So they have been safe from the flu, and I do think you would take some comfort in that at this point. So then with that, are you returning to your haven?
Yeah, I'm returning back to the haven.
Okay, so you get back to your haven, and there are still like probably like 5 to 6 of the men in there that they are awake. They're playing cards, they're gambling, and when they see you walk in the door, or whenever they perceive you in terms of the house layout, they kind of all like start moving toward you, and they're like they look really like excited. They look they're smiling, but there's this unsettling undercurrent that you can't quite place. And so like not all of them get up, but like 3 or 4 of them do get up, and they say, Walter, oh, nice to see you, mate.
And I'm happy to see them, and I give them big hugs and talk about the grand adventures we've had today, and I ask them how they've been.
Okay, so you'll tell them about a little bit about what you've been doing, or as much as information as you want to give them.
I mean, I leave. Yeah, I don't want to spill all the beans, but tell them about how, how I've fallen in with a couple of quiet chaps and a highborn lady, and and how we are investigating things, and
yeah.
And I'm like, quiet down. She's not part of the tribe.
Come on, ain't no women around here. We get bored.
Well, go recruit some women. I give them high fives. Oh yeah.
Maybe, they'll high five you, but they sort of look at it, give each other some side eye, like a woman, like whatever. And then so you're kind of carousing and whatnot, and you didn't perceive him initially, but making his way through the other people kind of timidly is Jack Dory. And Jack, just as a little bit of a description, he's a young man about 19, 20 years old, white, a typical Cockney Londoner. He's a little bit on the scrawny side. He's not very tall. He's pretty slender. He's got brown hair and brown eyes. And he's just sort of dressed down a bit with his like suspenders at his not up on his shoulders, and he's got like a white shirt on, and he's like, Walter, you're back.
Who let this muppet in here?
I'm not a muppet. I'm just as good as any of you.
Jack, your strength has failed you a couple times. You may sleep in the back, but we need to get you back on your feet again. Starting tomorrow, you're gonna go through your begins with an R. Rehabilitation.
Okay. What does that mean?
It means we're gonna find that backbone that you've lost.
Well, I'm trying my best.
Sometimes you need to try harder.
Well, I mean, it would help me if, we could do what we do here. And then as he says that, 2 or 3 of the other guys sort of they hear Jack say that and they kind of nod really eagerly. That would help me, please.
Gentlemen.
And they're yeah, come on, let's do it. Let's feel strong. Let's do it.
And I stop them. I'm like, stop it. We share our strength when we have something to celebrate, not before. Anything else is just indulgence. We will share our strength when we have something to celebrate, and I'll hear no other word of it.
I actually would like you to please roll, if you could roll charisma and leadership.
Okay. Ha, 1.
Okay, so the crowd, the small crowd of these men that so admire you and are eager to be yeah, unfortunately they don't buy it. They're like, we've been waiting a couple nights already. I mean, what's there to celebrate in times like these? And they sort of titter amongst themselves. They're getting kind of agitated. A couple of the guys are looking really sour. Jack just kind of looks disappointed. Are you really sure?
You have precisely 12 hours to do something heroic and strong. And when I awake, we will celebrate.
Fine. And all the guys are, they're disappointed, and they sort of they were all sort of almost encircling you, and now they sort of all break off and go back to whatever they're doing or go to bed, or maybe 2 of them go try to discuss some kind of scheme to prove to you so they can get their fix.
I mean, frankly, when I wake up, I'm going to be hungry too. So whatever they bring me, I'm going to accept.
Right. Fair enough. Okay, so then Walter will also go into his slumber, and I assume you have your own private quarters.
Oh yes, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, so you'll just go back to your private quarters, and all of you are now asleep.
We are all comrades in my tribe. I'm just more of a comrade than others.
Exactly. Okay, so it is the next night. So if everyone will please make me their rouse check if you have not already done so.
Yeah, passed.
Very good. What is that number you're at?
No, wait. Low is bad. I did not pass.
Okay, so what's your hunger now?
That's a 2.
So you're a 2. Tommy?
Tommy's good. He passed. We're at hunger 1.
Very, very good. Rafe?
Rafe failed and is now at hunger 3.
Sheesh.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, that's that's gonna be really interesting. Okay, and Lillian, what about you?
Lillian passed, and she would have done the blood thing for Bess, and then whenever we get around to it, she will check on Mary Alice, thus, taking that blood pool down, that hunger down a little bit more.
We'll say that you do that as soon as you awaken, and you'll get that need met for yourself. so you'll commune with Mary Alice in that way. So it is now 23rd December 1918. And we're just does anyone have anything they want to do before they leave their residence?
Oh yes, we are going to we are going to share our strength. Congratulations, helping the old lady cross the street. That is very brave and very noble of you.
Yeah, a couple of the guys went out and did something during the day of that nature. They helped someone in some minor way, but you're gonna give it to them. So you'll undertake this blood ritual basically that you've established with them. So are you, just so I'm understanding this correctly, so are you feeding at all during this exchange, or this is your gift? You're feeding.
This is exchange, yeah.
Okay, this is exchange. Okay. So these guys are willing, so there's no need to roll. Right. They know what the deal is by now, most of them. Mm-hmm. Jack's kind of first in line to do the feeding with you. You push him away?
Yeah.
Okay, and Jack just sits down on a bed and pouts. And you'll do your thing. So then your hunger then will also go down to 1. Okay. Anybody else? Anything before you leave, before your engagement for the evening?
I will just briefly check in with Private Murphy, make sure.
Oh, well. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Uh-oh.
Actually, so when you awake, and let's see, it's winter, so you're probably waking up like 8 or 9, I'm guessing. Maybe slightly earlier, but Private Murphy is there. You live together, so he is up and about as you awake. He's a quite a tall, slender man. He's probably like 6 feet or over, white, with a really like kind of slicked down brown hair. He's got these big expressive blue eyes. He's got kind of a pencil thin little mustache, and he's wearing like a kimono and then some loungewear underneath, and he has a cup of tea in his hand as you emerge from your bedroom, and he approaches you and touches you on your arm. He's like, "I'm so glad you're home. I missed you."
I know it's been a while there, Nathaniel. Did you rest well?
Yes. Resting, I mean, it's all I do now. I barely leave the house. I don't want to be locked down anymore like this. I want to go out. I want to go out with you.
Not at the moment. We have talked about this. The war is over. You're not with them anymore. They're looking for you.
But everybody's celebrating. I feel I can do what I want.
Don't we celebrate enough together?
When was the last time we celebrated? When was the last time? What did we do?
It was months ago. I understand that it's been a while, but it's been a very busy time.
I'm bored, Tommy. I spend all day doing nothing. I read plays I've read 1,000 times, and
how are you?
I lay around doing nothing.
And how are you going to feel when they take you back abroad, and they take you back to the States?
I just don't feel like you're equal. I feel like you're subordinate.
I don't mean it to be this way, but an embrace is not the time. The world could see a brighter future, but times will tell. We're just out of one one world disaster into an illness, we will
You're
be
so
able
gloomy.
to...
You're so gloomy. I can't stand it sometimes.
Well, if you feel like living a tormented life together forever and it sounds good, sometimes it is, but things happen worse than death to us. And I don't know if I want to put you through that.
And see, he sort of looks down and then he smiles a little bit. He's like, all right, darling. I'll listen to you. You know, I want to be with you. I want to be with you together here. But I understand you're busy. You have your matters to attend to, and I know you're looking out for me. But promise me on Christmas, we should go to the Panto Dame show. I mean, they don't do it as well as we do, but it is quite funny, and it's our friends are putting on a small one. It will just be a few people at a friend's house, and some wine and some songs, costumes. It'll be a gas.
I tell you what, not only will we go out on Christmas for the show, but tomorrow, not tonight, as long as everything goes okay tonight, then tomorrow I'll let you go out. You can pick up the bottle of wine that you want, and we'll make sure that we make a date of it.
Okay, I like the sound of that. And he slips an arm around your waist and he kisses you on your cheek. Now, be careful tonight, whatever you're doing. Please don't get hurt.
You know me, I come home no matter what.
All right, I'll hold you to it. And he goes into the kitchen and starts just doing some tidying up.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming you'll leave after that.
Yes.
Okay, so the coterie arrives by their various means to the short bridge at the north entrance of the Rotherith Tunnel. It's beginning to snow. The streets are more or less empty. This is the closest to the Thames any of you have been in quite a while. But everything is almost like frozen over, even the unpleasant smells that may be accompanying this area. It's so cold that everything just seems paralyzed in a way. Two sets of staircases on either side of the short bridge are leading down into the entrance of the tunnel. This is a real life tunnel that connects the Wapping neighborhood and the Rotherith neighborhood. It's only about a decade old at this time, and it actually boasted during its construction, no workers died, which was a huge feat at the time. So no one died in the making of this tunnel that's running basically like through the Thames or underneath the Thames. And it's really like a rather respectable looking place. Like, the brickwork is kind of kept clean. And there are two ornate black metal street lamps that are illuminated at either side of the bridge. It's surrounded by a residential type of area. Again, not nice homes. It's all pretty ramshackle. So all of you four will be gathered there. And we'll say it's about 9-10 p.m.
All right, well, here we are. Any second thoughts to going through with all this here?
No second thoughts yet.
All right, well, this should...
So who's going in? I thought we had some disagreements about that.
Well, I'll be going in,
and I'm going in with Rafe.
Right. So he's there to act as backup in case something doesn't go according to plan down there. And then the two of you would be acting as a sort of rear guard to just... You never know. We're starting to poke around in matters that people don't want disturbed, and so you never know what's going to happen.
Understood. I will protect your rear.
Do you try not to put your foot in your mouth, as you so often have done?
You've got nothing to worry about from me, Mom. I understand that this is... We're in a high-stakes game now, and that's... Yes, I understand that there is no room for error. You've got my word that even keel. Promise.
She'll look at Ray for a minute, and then she's gonna shoot Tommy a bit of a glance, and then nod her head. I suppose you should probably get to it then.
And just as... Oh, sorry. Do you want to say something, Tommy?
I was going to say absolutely, and I'll look at Lillian and be like, I'll take care of him.
Right.
Is there any
usual pair?
That doesn't. It's not.
I'm ready for this odd pairing here tonight. Are there any type of preparations like before you split up? Like,
if things go sour, yell up whatever password or code word you have.
Random password A.
I mean, they're gonna be in a tunnel, so
yell calamari. Maybe we'll hear you.
That would actually resonate. It's all vowels, so that
right? Yeah, we'll hear you.
Yeah,
but because of the pipes, we have no idea.
Calamari.
And then we'll start running around like this is Spinal Tap.
Tell you what, if by some chance that you aren't, you haven't returned around, sunrise, then I think it would be a safe bet that you didn't make it. So we'll know by that point what to do.
Doesn't leave us a whole lot of time to go find them.
Absolutely.
I didn't say that we were going to go find them, did I?
Well,
I just said we would know.
I thought it was an oversight. Needed stated.
No. I will try to leave a relatively decent-looking body for Sheriff Parr. How's that sound?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Okay, and so as you finish up your conversation, you hear footsteps coming up that little staircase, and it's 100% Bollocks. He's there.
It's Bollocks.
You notice him. You can't mistake him for anybody else. There's and just as a elaboration, there's really like nobody. There's not a lot of people out right now. Most people are pretty much like bunkering with their families, especially as the holiday approaches. So there's really not, and there's no like shops around here, so they're not out here. So Bollocks comes up the stairs. He's smiling. The folds on his face are all creased and almost like goose pimpled looking. And he seems like he's in a good mood. And he comes up, he's like, he looks at all four of you, he's like, all right, you ready, boys?
Well, as ready as I'll ever be.
Absolutely.
Now, you sure the rest of you don't want to come? Because I'm not just saying this, but it's a rather nice place we got.
Absolutely not.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, suit yourself. Fair enough. So he's ready to get the show on the road. So it's like, all right, allons-y.
Thank you.
And he starts back down the stairs. So Rafe and Tommy are going to follow him, and Lillian and Walter are just scoping out the place, looking for anything unusual. So you'll go down the stairs. You'll enter the tunnel. It's not like exceptionally wide at this time. Like it's it's kind of almost like it's just like a 2-car thing. So it's not like a really, really wide tunnel. But it's large enough. So you sort of are sticking to the left wall of the tunnel. There's no cars. Maybe like 1 or 2, and they've got their headlights on. It is pretty dark in this tunnel. Not a lot of lighting to speak of. So you're going to actually walk about a quarter of a mile down through the tunnel. And Bollocks is just like making conversation, kind of like and he's like whistling now and then with the sound sort of resonating through the tunnel. Splendid night, eh, boys?
Yeah, it's actually not that bad out for December, really. But
I've seen worse.
That is, of course, assuming that we're bothering to pay attention to how bloody cold it is out right now.
Yeah. Oh, I don't miss that. I don't miss it. Anyway, let's see. What should you know before going in? I mean, the boss is Brimmer. I'm the number 2. Obviously, you'll see your friend Myron there. And bunch of the Broken Mouth crew will be in attendance tonight.
Right, is this your crew down here? Is this all mostly Nosferatu? Are there other kindred? Are there other mortals there? Like, what's the makeup of your group?
That's a right good question. I mean, it's a real big mix, honestly. Like, it started out as just, the Nosferatu, just us sort of glomming on together. But then, wartime, gangs, so we started amassing people. So there are other licks. There are, obviously, our helpers, as it were.
Right.
And we have bunch of different kinds of mortals, but they will not be in attendance tonight. Only the kindred and our helpers. So no mortals in the tunnel as of this evening.
Understood. So we don't have to worry about the masquerade then. Excellent.
No, you should feel very free to be yourself. Whatever that means. That we encourage it. So no need to mask, no need to worry about how you look or whatever. It's a free place. Freer than any other part of this city. It's not pretty, but at least we don't have to hide ourselves, Right. I mean, more or less.
Speaking of which, out of character, so as a Toreador, how are my aesthetics down here? How are we vibing in this space or not?
Let us wait. The tunnel is like not in particular like dirty or gross looking. Like, again, it's extremely new, so like it's in good condition. There's no like weird smells or anything. Like, there's not a lot of foot traffic that goes on here, so there just aren't like mortals to stink up the place.
Gotcha.
So you are not feeling as of yet like a penalty because of your Toreador predilections, but we'll see as we get farther in how you will vibe. But as of right now, you're cool. But that's a good question.
Excellent.
So you're good for now. So Tommy, did you have any thing you want to talk about with Bollocks?
No, just short little conversation. We announced him as Brimmer. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can just call him Brimmer.
Okay.
Now, would he prefer Prince Brimmer?
Nah. I mean, it's kind of, it's unofficial and all, and he don't really like it, so we just don't.
So Brimmer
is fine. Yeah, just Brimmer.
I suppose it's a good thing I checked, just because I want to make a good first impression, and if he doesn't actually like the title, then I won't use it. So thank you for I owe you one, the bollocks. Thank you.
Oh, all right. We'll see about that. So you will continue, and like I said, about a quarter mile in, you're gonna see almost like it's like this carved out, like in a half circle section of the tunnel that kind of goes further in, that looks like it's a place where like maintenance vehicles can kind of pull off. And to the left side of the circle, and you'll kind of like almost make a U-turn to get to it. There is a really unassuming looking metal door, and Bollocks goes up to it, and he's like digging in his pockets. He's like, oh bloody hell, oh fuck. And he finally produces a key, and he opens the door, and he looks at the two of you, and he says, now don't touch the walls, don't touch them. Don't touch any of the walls until we get there. Is that understood?
Right. Don't touch the walls. Just hands to myself. Promise.
All right.
Yeah, you're the guide, and I will follow your directions 100% to the letter.
All right, fine. Good. So he opens the door, and it's actually kind of weird. Like it's like another short hallway, and then there's just another metal door. And he's just like, oh boy, here we go again. And he takes a different key and unlocks that door. And from here, now we're entering some more rustic tunnel. This has been crudely carved out. The floor is a little bit uneven. And the walls just look like regular stone. There doesn't seem like, you can't tell anything that would be weird about them, but it is kind of close quarters, so you're gonna have to go single file. So it's gonna be Bollocks first, and then who's after him?
I would probably go next, and that would leave Tommy in rear guard here through the tunnel.
Okay, cool.
As we're walking, I'm going to lean into Rafe and be like, I'm glad that he's in a good mood. Either this is going to go well, or he'll kill us quickly.
Well, it's the night is young, and why do I have the feeling that if we touch the walls, this entire thing would just flood?
Yes, I see a reason why they said no touch the walls.
Right. Bollocks, am I right on my assessment there? If we touch the walls, are we all going to take a permanent bath?
No, actually.
Oh.
But you still don't want to do it.
All right,
and he's not elaborating.
It's like the big red button. Don't touch it.
Right.
No.
I still think it's a structural thing.
Okay, so now it's dark, like I said, uneven ground, and you have this sort of caveat to not touch the walls. So if you both could please roll Dex and Athletics.
Right.
Oh.
And they were never heard from again.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Come on. I'm not that mean.
Shit.
1. Which is 50% of my roll there.
Okay.
Okay, here's my predicament.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Could I grapple the wall?
Stop.
I have 2 in Dex. I have no athletics. I am at hunger 3. I think I'm going to succeed at half, at 1.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we'll say that's what happens.
Yes, or rather, I'm going to just take 1, and whatever happens.
Okay, so what will happen is, wait, Tommy, you also got a 1?
Yeah, I have a 2 in Dex and 0 in Athletics as well. So.
Oh boy, this is not great for going through.
Nobody said we had to do gymnastics through a tunnel.
It's not gymnastics. It's just being careful, bro.
I have rapid reflexes if that weighs into this later on
Cat's
down
grace?
the road.
Okay, all right. This is my Jason Carl moment. Several things happen at once. Okay, so what happens is, okay, you both roll a 1. So because of your rapid reflexes and because of your cat's grace, we'll say that Tommy, he might have one of those little hiccups in his steps, but he doesn't touch the wall and he continues with nothing happens. But with Rafe, you will actually just lose your balance slightly and touch your hand on the wall. And what happens is right at your ankle level, out of the wall that is very close to you, a barb will shoot. It's not like a dart, but it's like a mechanism that's attached to the wall. So it engages and it a little barb at your ankle. But because of rapid reflexes, you are able to dodge it barely.
Phew. Oh, wow.
And Bollocks turns around. Bloody hell, I told you not to touch it.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that would... Ooh, no, yes. Arms, self, balance, uneven ground, forward.
All
Yes.
right, it's not too much farther, but let's look alive, boys.
Right. I'm going to activate heightened senses for the rest of the journey to Brimmer's chamber.
Sure, that's fine. Right. So you'll add then your aspects to all your perception rolls throughout this scene. Okay, so it's really not too much further. You probably walk another 5 to 10 minutes. Excuse me. And there'll be another metal door, which takes a third unique key. Bollocks will open the door. And you're going to enter this. Honestly, it's almost like a cavern. It's like this really crudely dug out space that has high ceilings. It's like but it's pretty crude. It's like people just like kind of hammered it, and you can see at the back of the tunnel, it's quite a long and wide room. Like we're talking about just like almost like a large rec hall or something of that nature. You can see at the back that there are like scaffolds where they're continuing to carve out more space. And you can maybe see that there's like a couple little smaller tunnels that are just at the back that probably, you know, just go into different more private areas. And this place has a lot of stuff in it. It's like one big room with no division. So there are like beds. There's a small library. There's like a combat training area. There's an area where like they're gambling that has like tables and like all the accoutrement of gambling. And so Bollocks looks around, and there's probably like 30 people in the room total, including you all. And it's lively. They're gambling, people are chatting, people are smoking. So there's like this, because of the lack of ventilation, there's like this heavy smoke that's lingering in the room. And when you open the door, some of it, a bit of it escapes back out into that tunnel. And Bullock sort of like puts his hand on his hip and smiles and looks around, and he's like, all right, here we are.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
This is just a portion of your broken mouth group, correct?
Right. So like I said, the mortals aren't here. We don't we don't bring them here very often, but especially for tonight, yeah, it's just, us, the powerful ones.
This is an impressive number.
Yeah, we started just before the war, really. Brimmer been around many years, but he got everybody together, and we've been working on this for years, and yeah, it's looking pretty good these nights. Lots of people of all types don't have nowhere to go, so we take them in here. And Bullocks sees a friend of his, and he it's actually you'll notice that it's one of the guys that was accompanying him when you met, when he made his introduction at the pub. So he'll be like, and Bullocks will go, "Hey, Tenor, the shit in the walls is still working." And Tenor laughs, and he's just like, aha, and they're just having a good laugh about it. They almost stuck these boys. Oh my god, what a sight.
Right, it's just I lost my balance, so you'll have to go back and re-arm that, but I'm sorry, but hello.
It's almost to be expected at this point, but we all made it unscathed, so I consider it a success. And actually, if both of you will please roll wits and awareness for me.
Okay. And while I'm gathering this, as a just side note storyteller, what sort of mix are we looking at here as far as Nosferatu to other kindred?
It is majority Nosferatu. I would say at least 70%.
Okay.
And then some regular looking folk who are presumably ghouls.
Gotcha.
And then, yeah, you see people that are probably kindred that are not Nosferatu, right, because, of their appearance, generally.
4.
4, okay.
7 messy crit.
Okay. Jesus. Just on a wits and awareness roll, why?
I got 5 out of 5 with 3 10s, one being my hunger die.
It's fine. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so before we address the messy crit, Rafe and Tommy will both notice as you scan the room, on some places on the floor, especially near the walls, you can see 1 or 2 roaches.
Big
and
roaches?
Big ass roaches. Big roaches. Maybe some even unnaturally big. And it is at this point that Rafe will get his minus to his aesthetic, and it's my understanding that with the companion information, now the bane severity is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you'll basically, anything relating to your disciplines, you're going to be a -2 on your roll there, but
Yep.
So yeah, both of you see some roaches. It looks almost like very clean for a Nosferatu place, but there are these roaches that are just chilling, and nobody seems to be going after them or care that they're there. They're just, and again, it's not a ton, but you do see them skittering here and there.
Right, bollocks. So those Yahapas that you're talking about earlier. And I gesture towards one of the roaches.
Oh, me? No. No, that's not my bag.
Oh, but though that's they're parts of the we'll say the ambiance, the accoutrement, they are friendly, yes.
In a matter of speaking.
I'm not going to go up and pet one, but Right, I don't have to worry about them, like, just randomly deciding that I'm a snack.
No. They'll leave you alone if you don't bother them. So.
Right.
And he sort of tilts his head and cracks a smile at you. And then, and Tommy, do you have any reaction to these roaches here?
I've been in worse.
I was gonna say this is probably small potatoes for Tommy, in terms of the things that he's seen. And actually, on that, we are going to flip back over to Walter and Lillian. So you, Rafe and Tommy, are taking it all in the Nosferatu area, and we'll cut back to our Ventru and our Gangrel. So time is passing as they make their way through the tunnel. You're just surveying, nothing looking weird at this point. Are you guys trying to make any conversation as you kind of just like wait around?
I mean, I'll try.
Okay.
So, did you find another doctor for that hospital?
Of course I did. It's what I do.
That specifically? Are you more of like a patron for the area, for the hospitals?
You know, I actually like that. I bet I could make that one stick. Might give me a bit more status for the area so that I don't have to deal with, you know, the annoying doctors like we did earlier. Yeah. Previously, rather. No, that's not exactly what I do all the time. It was simply just, I make things better.
Gather.
Can't you tell? I've done so much already.
I'm still trying to decide if your actions are charitable or self-serving in some way. But so far,
allow me to help you with that.
Our goals have lined up immediately.
I can help you with that one. It's always self-serving.
Thank you very much.
I mean, what would you expect? You Ventru?
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with all the inner workings of the clans. I'm still getting used to it. I spent the better part of my young kindredhood living in the trees, as you might call them.
Right. Well, good for you. Fantastic.
Thank you for your... Well, that's patronizing. Thank you very much.
No. Well, maybe a little bit.
Of course it is. So what was that creature that came to go find Dr. Gray?
I don't know. I have yet to figure that out, and no one else that I've spoken with thus far seems to know any more than what we know. In fact, most of which don't even know how to process what we saw in the first place. So, as far as they're concerned, we could have been hallucinating, and that's just as well of an explanation as anything else.
Yes, but if they think we're hallucinating, they won't do nothing. But if there's dead doctors, maybe they'll start. So my relationship is slightly soured now with the good doctor. But since you're going to be putting your own man in there, is there any chance we can go through the old Dr. Gray's, and I don't remember his name, but probably Dr. Gray's notes or something to see what would have made him a target?
I can't imagine why we wouldn't be able to. And what do you mean you soured your relationship with the doctor?
Oh, I didn't sour nothing. When everybody came in trying to barge their way past and trying to talk Big Johnson style to the man, it kind of rankled him a bit. He'll get over it, I'm sure.
Well, if he doesn't, he'll be replaced. It's not like it's very difficult to do
we're
so.
Not replacing him. He's staying right where he is. He's a good man doing good work.
Sure.
Thank you.
And at that point, no roll required, but you will see a man. He is coming sort of straight on. Looks like he's coming from the docks, the East End docks, and there's like maybe one pub over there, but most of it is kind of just like maybe like a few derelict boats. Even by this time, the East End docks were starting to deteriorate and sort of become less popular because steamships were taking over, and these East End docks were not big enough to accommodate. So like they're sort of like losing their usefulness, so the upkeep is sort of not happening as much. So it's real sketchy over by the docks. So you see a man approaching from that area, and he's not really dressed weather appropriately. Like he doesn't have he has a very thin coat on, maybe just a sweater, like no boots, just some like really worn out looking shoes. And as he gets closer, you'll notice that on his face, the skin on like near his eyes, like almost in this like bandit mask sort of shape, like all the skin there is burned, and he has like no eyelids. His eyes are sort of like bulging in an unnatural way, but like he doesn't have there's no eyelids to sort of soften the look of this whole eyeball. And he comes up to you and he says, he's like, Mum, sir, could you spare a few pence?
I was like, oh, Jesus.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, you look a fine lady, not a pence just for food.
No, but to tell you what you can do, because you seem like you've been through a little bit of a thing, I'm going to guess. So perhaps...
He winces. He's just like, eh.
Perhaps you might want to take advantage of a clinic, a hospital of sorts, and
he interrupts you and he says, No, I can't do that. They can't do nothing for me. They can't do it. There's nothing to be done.
Why exactly is that?
I mean, I was in the war. I'm a veteran. I just came back and everyone's turning their back me looking like this, and I can't afford the fancy things that make me look normal. And there's nothing they can do for the pain, really.
Here, I give him the equivalent of a couple bucks. So
sure.
Here you go to this hospital, and they'll give you a bed and some hot food, and get yourself a coat.
Oh, thank you so much. Please, thank you. And if actually you will both roll wits and insight.
Okay.
This is going to be a hard roll.
It's okay.
I think I'm good on this roll. This is going to be fantastic.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
5.
Oh, well, yes.
No crits.
5?
Yeah, 5,
okay.
But no crits.
Okay.
That's a really good dice pool for me.
I didn't know. I didn't know maybe your insight was so high.
Yeah,
so you can, both of you notice that he is being a little bit cagey. He said that this was for food. But
I don't think he eats the food.
You don't think he eats the food?
I mean, the way you described him, like as being weather inappropriate, he's not seemed to be in any hurry. He's got massive, grievous injury to his face. He sounds kindred of some sort. So,
I mean,
couple bucks for food.
Right. Would you? I mean, you have the ability if you would like to use Sense the Beast.
I mean, I'll use Sense the Beast, but I don't know if it's like he's not showing any aggression toward me, so I don't.
No, there's no aggressive vibes.
Yeah.
From this guy, at all. So he sort of is like looking around. He's like, and he sort of blurts out, "I have to do something for the pain. It's horrible. I can't sleep. I mean, I'm up in the middle of the night here, but I mean, I know you've got your business, I'm sure. So I'll take my leave. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir."
Where are you headed to, stranger?
I mean, I don't know. I ain't got nowhere to go.
So you came up here specifically to talk to us?
Well, I hang around by the docks during the day. Dock workers sometimes help me out, but like I said, can't sleep, don't have food, so I need to just...
Where do you eat? What kind of food do you eat?
You talking about normal stuff, beans on toast, like what?
Just asking.
And he like is starting to look at you weird. And he looks back to Lillian sort of pointedly, and he's like, "All right, I'll go. I know I'm bothering you, so I'll just leave." And he turns his back. And he just disappears back into the docks.
Lillian's gonna look at Walter, and she's like, "Well, that was right strange, wasn't it?"
If I didn't know any better, I'd think Brimmer was trying to figure out what we were up to.
Very likely. I'm not really around the hospitals, especially the military sort of places, so I'm not very familiar with the sorts of injuries that they sustain, but I'm pretty sure, almost 100%
if he caught a shell that burned off his eyelids, he wouldn't have those eyes.
See, that's just what I was suspecting as well. Yes. It would seem that our lovely little Nosferatu.
Somebody's just trying to figure us out.
Right. And if it was a test, congratulations, you passed, and I didn't, but that's fine.
It's all right, madam. You're with me now.
I have the amount of charitable work in line with that hospital, and the donation is that's pretty much going to be my quota for the year.
Oh, we're not done yet. You're with me now. We make the world a better place.
Sure. You go right ahead.
And
Walter, go right ahead.
Okay. And Walter, you seeing that man, does that bring to Walter's mind any parallels to his own life, seeing this a man that's lost his will?
So here's the thing with Walter is, again, he's flawed. We built him flawed. And so he takes pity on those that are trying, but having a problem achieving. He doesn't take pity off of people who are not trying. And so to come up and give me a sob story and try to wear on my feelings, it's like, I'm like, no, we're not ready for you yet.
Okay.
But if he came up and tried to it's like, I'll do some work for you, and I'll give him a couple bucks for work. That's somebody I can latch on to. That's initiative.
Okay, very interesting. And I believe it is at this point that we will take a short break. So we will see you very soon. Welcome back to Martlet Games and to our chronicle, London's Bleeding. I hope you got a good stretch in, a sip of water, and we're going to continue where we left off. Well, in a matter of speaking. So we've just wrapped up a little encounter with Lillian and Walter with a very distinct looking man on the street asking for money. Walter gave him a few pence and he was on his way. So with that, we are going to cut back to Rafe and Tommy, who are in this sort of Nosferatu cavern under the Thames off of the Rotherhithe tunnel that connects Wapping and the Rotherhithe neighborhood of London. So yeah, you're taking it all in. Bollocks is sort of mingling at this point. You will see Myron in the little library area. He's just kind of picking through the books and flipping the pages, and he's not really talking to anybody right now.
I get Bollocks' attention. So what's going on with Myra then? What's all going to happen tonight?
I mean, it's just basically the rather formal decision about whether or not he gets to, become one of us, really.
And when you say become one of us, you mean like embraced, made kindred, or brought into the gang and then he works his way up?
No. He's already been working for us for a number of years.
Right.
Right. So this is like the final evaluation, as it were. So to be embraced, yes.
Right, and he's he knows exactly what he's getting into, though. Like you've all talked to him about what this existence means, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we told him, when he really joined the Broken Mouths, what was going down and all after a while. And Bond's been through more than you know. And something like the embrace, yeah, for us specifically, and he does that thing where he grabs the skin and he snaps it back on his face. It's not, he understands, he can take it, and we've told him all that comes with this life.
Right.
So don't you worry, he knows what he's getting into. We're not trying to pull the wool over his eyes.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much you tell one of us, it's always a surprise. You can only prepare them for so much.
Well, luckily, instead of like many of the kindred in our ranks, the sire will take care of him, and he'll be watched over and not just kicked in a ditch, left to fend for himself.
I have to say, I do really appreciate all the work that you all are doing down here, between this absolutely amazing space, minus the bugs, of course, but I understand that's part of the package. But between that and you do actually have a sense of camaraderie and family down here. It's commendable. Really, it is.
Thank you. We do really try. I believe I already said this, but the Ivory Towers don't really care about East London. They haven't for some time, especially during the war. We might as well have disappeared. And we realized that if we wanted to have some sort of organization in order to survive, we would have to come together, and we didn't see why not. We couldn't include all different types. And as he says that, And you kind of, if you scan the room of the individuals that are in there, I mean, you will see you know, a lot of the Nosferatu variation of monstrous and repulsive appearances. You know, the pointy ears, the sort of alien looking face with the collapsed noses, bald, you know, some like fluids and like other nastiness. But then some of them look like they have some of the Nosferatu trappings, but then they wear these like metal prosthetics. That's or some of them have like these, they are masks, but they look as though they make a face, like there's a mouth and like an illusion of like facial hair, and there's these sort of like prosthetics and like different things on people's faces. And yeah,
war veterans.
Exactly. I mean, when they started using gas, these people can't go back to their lives. Their women turn away. Their children's is afraid of them. And, you know, sometimes the country don't take care of its soldiers like it should, or like it says they do in the papers.
Right, about that. I'm actually in a position where I can do something about that.
What do you mean?
I used to be a journalist before the war and during the war, and I was embraced in a shelled village in France.
Oh.
But this whole struggle, though, that you've got going on down here, this is really something. And I think, look, you all deserve a voice. Between the kindred and your representation and within the Camarilla and your valid concerns, and the mortal population above you isn't faring much better now, are they?
No, it's pretty bleak indeed.
Right. So if you don't mind, I've got a few personal requests, if you would.
All right, yeah, we can do it real quick, but Brimmer's gonna be calling us soon. Right. But yeah, tell me it. What are you thinking?
Look, I'm going to give you. I take out I rip off a scrap of note paper out of my notepad, and I write down the address for the Randy Dandy. Right.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. I want you to stop by sometime. I'd like to talk to a few of your boys. A few of your men down here. I want to talk to the mortals. I want to talk to the kindred, and obviously we're going to keep those two stories separate. But no, you all deserve to be heard. This is a crime that's being done both above and below the streets. So,
I do appreciate that. Really, I do. I don't know. I'll have to pass it by Brimmer.
Right.
And
but stop by sometime. We could discuss.
All right. The Randy Dandy. Yeah. I've heard of that place. All right. We'll talk more about it. Now let's go. Let's get you an introduction before the fun starts. And he smiles ear to ear. And he's gonna lead you over to the gambling area, and they're throwing dice, they're hooting and hollering, they're having a good time, money exchanging hands, and in a very, very large reclining chair, you will, for the first time, lay your eyes on the Nosferatu Underprince, Aaron Brimmer. And he looks pretty wild even for a Nosferatu. He's probably like 5'7", and he is large. We're talking about easily like 400 plus pounds. He's got this smashed down head that's sort of like, you know how like in comics like the Juggernaut.
I was about to say the Juggernaut.
Yeah, it's almost like this dome of a head, and he's got this huge mouth that's full of yellow chipped teeth, and his eyes are really large and extremely inhuman looking. They're like yellow with like an almost like a reptilian slit of a pupil.
I'm thinking
and you can
frog. Very froggy.
Well,
I'm thinking Jabba the Hutt at this point in time.
Right. And his nickname then that you'll find out will make sense to you. So he not only this, but you can tell from the way he's sitting, his legs are actually uneven. Like one is longer than the other one, and sitting on the chair is this gnarled wooden cane. And he's dressed himself as best as he can. He's got this sort of like ill-fitting white shirt. He's got a flat cap on, and his nose has this big gin blossom on it, and he's got like he's sort of squeezed into this vest and some trousers, and yeah, very amphibious reptilian sort of mix look to this guy, and he's laughing and his mouth is just wide and full of this yellow teeth and just like ah ha 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 and just like having a great time. And so they'll finish their rolling of the dice there, and Bollocks will walk up with the two of you to Brimmer. And Bollocks sort of straightens up a little bit and he goes, oi Brimmer, I've got some people for you to meet. And Brimmer, he was sort of like justified off to the side, and he sort of then still sitting down, he settles back into the chair and he steeples his fingers, just stubby sausage hands full of warts, ragged nails. He's like, oi, this is real interesting, isn't it? Who are they then? And Bollocks is like, I would like to introduce to you, Rafe.
Hello.
And Tommy. And he looks you both up and down, and he's seeming to lean back even further as his mass is overflowing in this chair. They're all right then. I mean, you properly did your diligence right, Bollocks number 2. And Bollocks says, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I did. I mean, they're friends of Bon, ain't they? And he goes, yeah. Bon, all right, yeah, he's an all right sort. Yeah, and he's nudging Bollocks. All right, yeah. So, they're here. What a night for them to be here. I mean, very interesting circumstances. Not something that everybody gets to see, is it? And Bollocks nods his head. And the cigarette smoke continues to circulate. There are oil lamps sort of like put out of the way that like makes the light, so it's got this sort of these shadows sort of twisting about as people move in and out of the oil lamp light. So he looks at you again and he squints these big reptilian eyes. So what are you doing here then?
I kind of look to Tommy in deference. He's the eldest here. I'm gonna let him do the do the introductions.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Brimmer, we've been told that you might have some information that could help us both out, it seems like nowadays. Now, I've been around too long, and I feel like the same has gone for you as well. I have no reason to bullshit you.
All right.
I know how all this works. We will make it short and to the point here, and my friend Rafe will help with some of the questioning and try to get some answers for both of us.
Well, I do welcome an exchange of information, as I always do, but we have matters here with our own that we have to attend to first.
Absolutely. But, when in time.
Indeed, but we're gonna get started. And we'll get on the move. And he sits up and he starts to sort of bellow to the group that's assembled in this Nosferatu cavern. He's like, all right, everybody settle down, we're gonna get started. And then Bollocks, as people like, they start to stop talking, but there's still a little tittering, and then Bollocks is just like, all right, shut up now, fuck's sake. And everybody starts to simmer down. And with that, we're actually going to cut back to Lillian and Walter, who have just had their little interaction. Are you talking about anything else?
Probably not.
Yeah, you're just chilling. You're
or
just
at least
sort of,
not that I would.
Sure.
Just keeping an eye out.
That's fine.
The occasional. Did you see that? So.
Oh, sure.
She's probably her demeanor is probably very much so. She's starting to get impatient, because I imagine it's been a little bit since you know. So she's starting to get impatient, and I imagine at some point she would have said, all right, so I know and I understand that I did say that if they weren't back, by dawn-ish or just before dawn, that we would take it upon ourselves to understand that they were likely, dead, and we would leave it at that. But that didn't exactly mean that I wanted them to stay gone that long.
Right. What time are we getting to?
I'm not sure. Storyteller, what's the time?
Sure. It's just it's almost about to strike midnight.
Oh, bloody hell, it's only close to midnight. It's not even... we've got hours to go before dawn. They're going to drag this out, I tell you. I'm almost certain that that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we are imposing on one of their ceremonies. Do we want to go down there? See if we can speed up the process?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're more than welcome to do so, but I'm not going down there. No.
As you're sort of trying to hash this out, you will notice that this time more from the North Main Street that goes back up north through the East End, there are two men that are talking really loudly, and they're not necessarily having an argument, but they're like talking in a very like animated way, and they're sort of moving kind of fast, and they're like rapidly like approaching your area.
Can I hear what they're saying exactly?
Yeah, how obvious are they being?
They're being pretty they're being pretty ostentatious. Like you could probably hear what they're saying. So you don't hear everything, but you hear it's like, where the fuck is he? Oh my, I'm not fucking doing this again. Like, I don't have time. We don't have time to be doing this. I'm supposed to be at the dandy, and this is putting a fucking piss on my night, and I don't like it. And the other guy going like, the other guy's capitulating. He's just like, I don't know. It's just like, well, we've got to find him, and I don't know what. And it's at that point that they see you, and they come up to you. And it's just like, as soon as he see the sort of main guy, he's a little bigger than the other one, and they're just typical London guys. They see Lillian and they say, "Oh, all right. Hello, Mum. Would you mind if our friend seems to be lost? Can I ask you if you've seen him?"
Who are you looking for, chaps?
What friend?
He goes by name of Gregory. He's about let's see. He's young, a young man, just a bloke, really. A little bit thin, big nose, blonde, in like a dark green coat.
Can't say that have I seen him? Has he been walking around?
No, You haven't really seen anybody but the previous guy who doesn't really match to his description.
Yeah. Can't say that we've seen him.
No, I have not. In all honesty, I probably wasn't paying attention anyway. Sorry about that.
You better pay attention in the middle of the night on these streets, Mum. You don't know what can happen to you.
I'm hardly worried about it.
He gives a little bit of a predatory smirk.
Hardly worried.
Yeah, I smile at. So, who should be watching that? From who?
Who should be watching there? I don't know. You.
But from who? From whom? From whom?
I mean, can't be your first time here. There's lots of trouble roaming around these streets at night.
There is.
You're roaming these streets right now, so does that mean that you're the trouble?
Well, I ain't done anything tonight.
Yet.
We ain't doing
Nobody's done anything until they have.
Right. What?
I tell you what, you'd probably be better off going down to the dandy, trying to find your friend Gregory.
No, but that's just it. He ain't there. We were all celebrating, going to the dandy, meet a few girls, have some drinks after our job, and he just disappeared. It's like he'd been snatched away. Ain't no trace of him.
Right. Now you've piqued my interest. When's the last time you saw him?
You do know that there was, I believe there was a fellow not too long ago. He kind of stumbled off that way, and I'm going to point in the direction where the eyelidless character went. With a
right
smile.
toward the docks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before you go, when you saw Gregory, did you see him at the dandy, or did he leave?
No, he was supposed to meet us at the dandy. He never met us there, and we didn't think anything of it. Like, we were just, celebrating and whatnot. And then we go to look for him because there's a girl ready, whatever, and he ain't there, and he ain't never showed up. And it's not really like him. Gregory's always in the thick of it with us.
What are you celebrating again?
Yeah.
I didn't think you said.
Give me a roll, if you will, Lillian. Actually, no, you'll just succeed at half. There's no reason. Your pool is huge. So he'll look at you kind of weird for a second, and he's like I said, we done a big job, so it's time to celebrate.
But I'm asking for details. What was this big job that you've done?
Well, I mean, I don't think the details are appropriate for a woman of your station, really.
Oh, come now.
You have no idea what's appropriate for this woman.
Well, that's not fair, Mr. Price.
Well, we don't.
Nonetheless, I asked a question, and it is only polite if you should answer it.
Right. I mean, I'm not the sort of bloke that really gives a fuck or a rat's ass about being polite. Anyway, if you ain't seen my friend...
Activating Dawn.
Activating Dawn. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me I don't have the one written down on yours for whatever reason. So let me just reference those. Is that a rouse check, do you know?
I'm looking now. I have
here, I got it.
Yeah, that was just the
it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, yeah.
Sure. It's free. So you're adding your presence to any intimidation rolls. Okay, so let me give a roll to our boy here.
Good luck.
Yeah, right? Jeez. Okay.
I saw the predatory smile. It's only fair that I give my own back in return.
I thought we were gonna fight, but now it's like, oh no, they're victims. Now we gotta get their statement and do some investigation.
Cool. So, you're successful in engaging this power against him. So you're, exuding this aura of menace, and he's not going to be saying any sort of cheeky things to you anymore. And he takes a shaky step back, and he's just like, all right, I don't mean anything by it. We were just we celebrating a job, you got to do what you can these days, for money and whatnot. So we had done a bit of a pinch at a shop.
Did you hurt anyone?
Me? Oh no. I didn't hurt anyone. It was just me and him on watch. That's all. Just me, John and Jonathan and him, Douglas. We was just on watch. We didn't do anything.
What about your missing friend? Did he hurt someone?
I mean, not that I know of. I mean, he was there in the thick of it in the job with the boys, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I ain't seen him since the job. What's that?
Where's he live? We're trying to help you now. Where does he live?
He lives around the basin, the Shadwell Basin. He lives up there.
No, I'm not trying to help anybody. You don't have to do anything.
And he's looking at you like he's starting to look at you weird, but he's still very much like cowed by the power of Daunt. So
who hired you?
Who hired me? I mean, it's just a regular job with the gangs,
So you just decided to do this. Which gang in particular was it that you were part of?
What
are their names, Price? Mr.
That's a really important question that you need to answer.
What? It's the Fists. I'm sure you know us. Yeah, the Fists.
Dude, damn it, Jonathan! I was going to help you, but we're just trying to make sure no more bodies end up in the Thames. So we just need to make sure your boy Gregory isn't being suffocating in that water.
Oh fuck! I hope not.
Well, fuck! I hope not either. Let's go.
He's just a kid.
Your story's changing all over the place.
I think they're lying. If I'm going to be honest, which
I ain't lying.
Okay.
I ain't lying. What would I gain from lying to you?
Who knows? All right.
Look what you've gotten us into now.
I know. I've gotten us into this. Yeah, get ourselves out of it.
So what? You think he's by the Thames?
I would like to visit his home to make sure he's not.
Are you serious right now?
I mean, it's a bit.
Lillian, you have.
We are
Miss
supposed
Crawford,
to
you
stay
have to
right
stay here in case the other two come back.
Bloody hell! Here we go.
But he's
now.
going to
Just
disappear.
Going to go run off and do things. And have you never heard that it is dangerous to do things like this?
No, I understand. We need to stay in a group. All right, Jonathan. Not Gregory. Not Gregory. What's your name?
I'm Jonathan, and that's Douglas.
All right, Jonathan and Douglas. I need you to stay somewhere. Tell me where you're going.
I mean, there's a pub up the road. I mean, we could just...
Perfect. We'll meet you there.
All right, fine.
You could have just rang the, authorities. It would have been so much easier.
No, we don't bring the authorities into this.
You don't. I do.
Well, it's because the authorities like you. They don't really like me.
They only like me when I make them.
They only like you because you pay them.
That is fair.
And he'll also tell you that the pub is called the Old Prospect.
Okay.
And it's just up the road. There's no distinguishing features, but it has a sign out front that says the name, so you'll know it.
Now, Jonathan and Douglas, we're here trying to help. If we don't see you there, then we ain't gonna help anymore.
All right, we'll be there. We ain't got nowhere else to go now.
All right.
So they will they'll head north to a pub that's like probably about half a mile away. So with that, remind me, you're gonna go to, where is Walter gonna go?
He's staying right here.
You're staying there.
Yeah. We're not gonna make you run 3 scenes. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I was just wanted to get it clear. That's all.
No. You put a lead in our lap, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Just go wait there.
That's totally fine. Okay, so actually then on that, we will cut back to the Nosferatu cavern. And as I said before, Brimmer and Bollocks are getting everybody's attention. People are sitting down, leaning against the walls in various positions. Brimmer will lumber his ass over to another huge armchair that's like kind of in this near the back of the room. And everybody sort of moves forward to meet him there, and he's it's tough for him. He's got the cane and the uneven legs. You see that he's got a lift in his shoe, and he's making his way over there, and he sits down, and pretty much everyone's quiet at this point. There's not a lot of like side chat going on, and Bollocks is standing right beside Brimmer, who's sitting in that chair. And Brimmer will sort of settle in, and he'll say, "Welcome, brothers, one and all, sisters all. Broken mouths open wide," and everybody in the crowd opens their mouth and starts just like, "Ah, ah, ah," and is just screaming and cheering. Lots of weird looking teeth. And then that sort of dies down. "I won't keep you. The bloody fist cunts, they really must be taking the piss, eh? Apparently, killing the sick in old Mr. Flu, that's evil is what it is. And it's bad for anyone looking less than a starch-pressed dandy at high afternoon tea. As of tonight, we begin strikes against them. We can't wait for them to escalate. I'll divide you up and we'll hit them all over. You'll report to Bollocks before and after as usual. East London will be ours soon enough. I promise you that." And then he pauses. And then he smiles that absolutely uncanny, huge grin. And he says, "But really, we should be celebrating. And as he says that, he raises his arm up, and you see a roach crawl out of his sleeve and fly, and then start walking around on the ground in front of him. So he continues. New boys and girls come in every night, and we take in everyone the bloody city's forgot. And you see all the faces in the crowd lighting up. These are disfigured faces. Nosferatu. Even like a handful of people that you think might be refugees of some sort, like non-white people. And he goes on. War's over too. Can't bloody believe it. Another one under my belt, I suppose. And he gives he looks at Tommy in that moment.
Give a little nod.
Mm-hmm. Then he looks toward Myron, who's sort of just like, he's like sort of at the front of the crowd, but he's still like off to the side. And he gestures, Myron boy, up you come. And Myron approaches Brimmer, who then stands up with the use of his cane. He said, You've had enough of my bloody speeches, haven't you? Then let me say, and he looks at Bollocks for a moment, you're in, my friend, to enjoy the full powers of the blood. Bollocks will be your man, of course, and we'll arrange it all. Congratulations. You've done right by us, and it's time we done right by you. And then the crowd, clapping, cheering, smiling, and Myron looks kind of he looks a bit sheepish, and he'll sort of, in a slightly softer voice, he'll just say, thank you so much, like it's an honor, really. It's been my honor, and I'm looking forward to it. This is a different kind of life than many would imagine for me, I think, but it's one that I choose. And I'm looking forward to it. And then there's a bit more clapping, and Myron's going to go stand by Bollocks. People sort of start with the side chat again, and Bollocks whistles to quiet the room. It's at this point that Brimmer whistles, and another Nosferatu from one of the back, more like private tunnels, the more narrow tunnels in the back. He's gonna have a guy by the arm who has his hands tied up. He's got a cloth gag in his mouth. He's blonde, and if you look closely on the back of the chair that Brimmer is sitting in is a dark green jacket. And so he brings him up through the crowd, and there's a couple hisses and a couple kind of jeers as he comes up. And you can see that the tied and gagged man has the characteristic red cloth of the Bloody Fist designation. Bollocks grabs a chair and he sets it down, and he shoves the guy in there, and Brimmer stands to the side of this guy, and he lifts up his shirt, and all of these roaches come out, and they go all over this guy's chest. He's got like one on his face. And that dude and the guy in the chair just starts screaming, and everybody in the crowd just laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs.
I'll chuckle.
Tommy will chuckle.
I'll chuckle.
I'm making a willpower roll. That's
yes. I was just about to ask you for that.
I don't have the stomach for that.
Oh, I'm so glad that Lillian did not go down there. This would be bad.
Yeah.
You would have seen her freak the fuck out.
I bet.
3, 4, 5. All right.
No. She would immediately be like trying to somehow get in touch with servants to come kill all the roaches. No.
Right.
Clean this shit up.
Now 1.
You don't do anything wild like in reaction to this. Obviously, this does not vibe with your Toreador sensibilities whatsoever. And you definitely you take a couple of steps back. You're not laughing. You're just kind of shrinking into a place where you can freak out with less people looking at you. So we'll say that Rafe is sort of going off to the side in that gambling area, which is more empty now. Tommy, are you reacting to this in any way?
No, with everything being weird and disgusting and a curiosity, he's taking it in. It's something that you don't get to see every day.
Absolutely. And actually, we're going to end the session there. So, yeah. I'm glad you bared with me there. Thank you to everyone at home. We're going to go around the horn here with our players to talk about where you can find them, what they're working on, and all that good stuff. And hopefully we'll get some stuff posted in the chat. My name is Sarah. I'm your storyteller for this, my first chronicle, just having a blast. You can find me on Twitter at MC Diabetes. I don't tweet very much, but I'm trying to engage in a different way there. So you can go ahead and find me at MC Diabetes on Twitter. And then here on the Martlet Games channel doing all manner of different things. I'm going to be a player in a bunch of upcoming games. Very much looking forward to it. So we'll go back to Ben.
My name is Ben. I'm not really on the socials, but I'm in most everything that Martlet touches. I try to get on the Discord, and I'm kind of a phantom. So if you catch me, say hi.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Patrick Gill. I am the creative director of this motley crew that you see gathered before you here. So yeah, it's my socials, Insta and Twitter. It's at Lictor, LICTORXIX. We've got this wonderful little show that you're watching. We've got something for Onyx Path cooking in the background. I honestly have no idea when this episode is going to see the light of day, so I have no idea where things are at with those, as far as the business
Fair
goes. Enough. But by the time you see this, Martlet Games will have been a legitimate operating business for a couple of weeks, hopefully not months. But yeah. Anyways, that's basically it. I am the fulcrum for this entire organization, and if Ben's got his fingers in everything, then it's I'm there too.
Okay.
My fingers are definitely in Pat.
It's like Kermit the Frog.
This is what you insinuated. This is yes.
I didn't think anything weird. Nope, not a single weird thing that I thought.
Nope.
I guess that means it's my turn now.
Yes.
I'm Samantha McLarty. I played the Venture Lillian Crawford, and I'm pretty sure my link tree, hopefully by this time, might be, or social, whatever links are in the chat for me. If you can't find it, you can always look. Pretty much everything's going to be at just S McLarty. And I don't know when this is airing, but at this moment on Saturday, I would have already done a one shot, playing a Ravnos, being blood hunted in Nashville. And I think it was called it's Murder on Music Row.
Yep.
On Carry On Comfort. So it's probably already aired. You are welcome to check it out. Check out the VOD. I am doing Vancouver adjacent by night. I am the La Sombra Elena Crawford. Or shit, no, damn it.
Yeah,
they're all running together.
It's the C's, man.
Yep.
Elena Cortez on that
Cortez.
one. Jesus Christ.
Or Vic Cortez. That's the running joke.
So many characters. She is a La Sombra, and I believe that one is still going to be airing on Saturdays as well.
Yes.
I have no idea what time at this point.
Yeah, they're shifting the schedules around. Things are.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going to be when this airs, but hey, I will be there. So you can find me on the Vancouver adjacent, and anything that's going on with Martlet, I will, like they have their hands in all of those pies too.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And I'm Steven Rieger. I played the Malkavian Tommy. You could find me on Twitter at Darth Generico, spelled the way it sounds. I, of course, am doing a lot of things with Martlet. We are working on some core system ideas, a lot of thinking outside of the box when it comes to what we could possibly do as a company. Maybe some YouTube ideas that might be coming through with me and Ben here shortly, hopefully.
Martlet boys.
Also, make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Check out some of the older ones that we've ran. We've done Indianarchs. We have Sioux City by Night Season 1. All of them to check out. And by the time that you see this in episode 4, there's probably a couple episodes hopefully floating around if you've missed London is Bleeding. So you should be able to catch yourselves up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I forgot Lex's thing. Lex from Vancouver adjacent. She plays Cassandra. She's doing
the Vixen,
the redhead Vixen takes over.
The Vixen interpreter.
The Vixen. The Vixen interprets, and it's just kind of like we're going to be talking about, women in gaming and tabletop games, and I get to be a guest on her show that night. I don't remember. I think it's I don't know when it would have aired at this point, so I'm not even going to pretend like I do. But
we're in that weird no man's land of of production pre-release where. The show will be out when it's fucking out. Just bear with us.
There will be links. You'll be able to see all the links.
Oh, goodness. All right. I got to put these kids to bed. Thank you so much for joining us here at Martlet Games. Having a great time. Hope you are as well. Take care of yourselves and the ones you love, and we will see you next time for London's Bleeding.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.